So I
See,
say either
that's
people have got
the YouTube
nothing
matrix.
to do.
No, I think more people are looking forward to YouTube discussions than other things like mainstream TV. That
So
shift has
television is
happened.
sorted out completely. Television
Absolutely.
has, I mean, it's a bygone media now. Bygone
Yeah.
I
medium.
don't know how this thing will turn out. What your friend Sandip is doing is making the OTT platform stuff. I don't know how that will work.
They're doing good content, pretty slick production and all of that. So let's see. It's a new thing. But
Hmm.
we're live now, and we'll start as soon as our viewers stop complaining about us being precisely 1 minute late. Uh, but so interesting days, and I think they're going to keep getting more and more interesting as time progresses. We've had two leaders, for one former CM and one current CM, who are under the ED lens. Of course, the current CM has also been taken into custody, ED custody. So this is quite, I don't know, I mean, has that ever happened before, Ajay?
Not really, in the sense, if you look at the way Hemant Soren entire saga happened yesterday, that smacks of a lot of conspiracy theories as well as spent political expediency. It was well known that the scandals and the corruption charges which have been leveled on Hemant Soren may stand scrutiny in a court, and it will not be easy for Hemant Soren to skip out of it or wriggle out of it. But his dramatic escape from Delhi, a 20-hour long journey where he drives 1,300 kilometers, it must be backbreaking. I mean, I have driven once from Delhi to Patna, it's 1,000 kilometers, but I virtually killed myself. It takes 18 hours. So, yes.
Credit to Nitin Gadkari, you must give. The roads have improved.
Oh, yes. Hands
So,
down. I mean, earlier
so,
it was impossible to go to Patna straight. Now I can drive down, which is fantastic. But I mean, this entire thing, the way it unfolded, he's holding the legislative meeting, having two letters of support in his hand, the family drama, which is nothing less than a Sas Bahu and Sajish happening at his home. His the projections of his wife Kalpana Soren becoming the chief minister, an almost certainty, and Bagawat by the Bhabi Sita Soren, and Basant Soren being somewhere in the midst, trying to drowse the fires at home. It was a drama unfolding, and then suddenly he goes to the Raj Bhavan, tenders his resignation, and makes a de facto chief minister of a very well loyal supporter who has been with his father Shibu Soren for a very very long time, is known as the tiger of Jharkhand for innumerable years, and then is arrested immediately thereafter. What was the expediency, what was the urgency of arresting him at such a short notice, if he was in any case cooperating with the enforcement directorate? So these are questions which obviously get raised, and the agencies are also at times tasked with the criticisms that they are working at the behest of the government that be. Similar has been the case with Lalu Prasad Yadav and Tejasvi Yadav. Lalu Prasad Yadav being questioned incessantly despite his bad health, which has been known for a very long time. On a day when uh, Nitish Kumar has to prove his mantle, that JDU does not get disrupted, that the MLAs do not get bought over, no horse trading happens, no big dhamaka as Tejashwi claimed have happened up till now in Bihar. So a lot of people are pegging this to the enforcement directorate's strong hand. I mean, this strong arm tactics may or may not really prove fruitful in the longer run. But fact of the matter is that it is serving the current political expediency. What happened in Jharkhand, does that benefit BJP is a question that we can discuss here upon. But the benefits that have accrued in Bihar or are likely to accrue in Bihar has been discussed in our Sunday club.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot is still open. The game is still open. We may pontificate sitting in our drawing rooms and your studies that This is a real political move, but fact of the matter is that the functioning of Enforcement Directorate of late has left a bad taste in the mouth. Now, tomorrow, on 2nd February, Arvind Kejriwal also has to appear for his. That's a fourth or fifth notice being sent to him. Now, if he also doesn't turn up and claims the vicious political high hand against it, which most likely he will or he shall, because he's planning to demonstrate in front of the BJP office tomorrow when he is supposed to be in front of the Enforcement Directorate officials. It does not brew too well and does give a taste of a high handed approach. That's what it appears as of now.
Okay. Sandeep, please, your comments, opening comments on this situation.
See, there are two parts to it. The point Ajay talks about, seeing the role of Enforcement Directorate playing the handmaiden of the government, etc. It could be well be true, and the perception can there be there, and I'm not going to question that. But I think the Narendra Modi in particular is beyond caring on that point. There are these are being done with specific intention. What has been done in Bihar, I think we have discussed it on the show the other day. It was necessary from a political standpoint because otherwise, BJP would have found it difficult to get the kind of number of seats they would be looking for in the Lok Sabha. Everybody knows, you never know what Nitish Kumar might do before Lok Sabha or after Lok Sabha. Those are things they would have calculated. So that is a very, very political part. Coming to Jharkhand, again, the issue is twofold. I think BJP wanted for a long time to, topple this government and get back into power, and there somehow it did not work out, or it was not, expedient to do that earlier. There were a lot of talks. For example, if you know, when RPN Singh joined BJP, one of the speculation was that he had been tasked to do the breaking up the alliance and getting people. So this was on the cards for a long time. Now, what people hadn't bargained for, the point where I would not differ with Ajay, Hemant Soren had to do this very quick move because to preempt, he wanted to do this whole thing before he was arrested and go behind. He wanted to nominate somebody else, and he thought that then that person was going to get his vote of confidence and take over. Two things he didn't probably bargain for. One was this whole issue between his wife and being nominated and this person. But what he probably didn't bargain for, that there was already something brewing in terms of splitting the party. Okay, now that is the gamble which BJP has played. Now, whether that will work out like it did in Maharashtra is something we'll have to wait and see. In Delhi, I don't think, again, BJP is simply going to make Arvind Kejriwal a martyr, unless there is also something brewing there, which, so far we thought it was crying wolf. Kejriwal and his other people now, this lady, everybody keeps on saying so many of our MLAs have been contacted and they are, waiting to defect. If really something like that is brewing, then I think BJP might strike in Delhi, not just simply to arrest him and, make him a martyr. The last point, on all these things, the only justification of this, and I discussed this earlier today in on two shows. What's happening is Narendra Modi is trying to really, he's already Teflon coated, but he's trying to really make it steel frame thing as an incorruptible person. So if you see there, the first jingle which they've released for the election campaign, in that there is a clear line. The corrupt people are shaky and they're shivering in their things because of Modi. So this is the message which he will try to convey in all these cases. See, I'm not sparing anybody. In my time, this has happened, and with that he would like to go in for the election. You know, just continuing, Ishwan Deshmukh in one of the program, I think, made a very important point. If you were to look at in absolute numbers or absolute finding, the economic pain which people are feeling today are not very dissimilar from what they were facing in 2013 or so. But the angst of the people, the ire of the people had gone against the Congress because there was this whole tag of corruption against the Congress. So they blamed a lot of their misery on corruption. In case of Modi, they're giving him the benefit of doubt, etc., because there is no corruption tag on him. And he would like to reinforce that while going in for the election. And that's why you saw even Nirmala Sitaraman's the confidence. She made the statement.
We'll get to that, Sandeep. I want to actually ask both of you this. It's no big secret that both Hemant Soren and Lalu Prasad Yadav are considered to be very corrupt by the general public as well. So when the ED is actually taking action against them, are we reading too much of politics into this?
Let me answer this in a very. Let me catch the other way around. See, it's a well-known fact that one of the most corrupt figures of Indian politics has been Lalu Prasad Yadav and his family. It's also very well known that if the government actions initiated against Lalu Prasad Yadav during the UPA tenure, or even prior to that during Vajpayee tenure, were not very severe in nature, he could wriggle it out. And there was a kind of a long rope given to Lalu Prasad Yadav in various successive regimes. Let's not forget that Mr. Rahul Gandhi tried to tear off the legislation whereof he tried to say that you cannot contest an election if you're corrupt. That was something which he tried to do by tearing off that legislation to convey an image that Lalu Prasad Yadav should be prosecuted in case he's corrupt. But at one end, this is what the Congress party tried to project. At the other, Lalu Prasad Yadav was given all long ropes, everything possible. And the judicial process dragged and dragged for years together. So yes, when a Lalu Prasad Yadav is now haunted by the ED, does the public at large feel that he's being unnecessarily haunted? No, this is a very limited sentiment, which particularly attracts to the Yadav community within Eastern UP and Bihar. The rest of the India doesn't really care anymore. Okay, it happens. This is what you've done, you're getting it. Similar with Hemant Soren. They are known to be corrupt and charges can be proven. It is just the timing of the ED action which at times has raised hackles. And I completely agree with Sandip when he says that ED arresting Arvind Kejriwal now seems like a very far-fetched possibility unless there is a complete break within the Aam Aadmi Party. And that will have to be a huge one, given the kind of majority that he has in Delhi Assembly. Doesn't seem to be very likely. And when they say that 6 or 7 MLAs are to be bought by some 25, 23 crore rupees being doled out to them, it doesn't really, strike a chord with the common public that what will the BJP do with 6, 7 MLAs? They need far more. If at all, they have to form a splinter party and, get to the point. So yes, as a public sentiment, it doesn't really matter if the government goes against the corrupt. Rather, it justifies, reinforces the steel cage, as Sandip has talked about, that corruption is being tackled with a tough hand. It is just that the timing before the political switches are done is in question. And that is much more so, let me put it again, by people like us. The larger audiences may or may not really read as much into it as we start reading into it. And these voices, when they reverberate within this social framework, general public also begins to question whether this is a vested or a politically motivated action which is taking place. So it has a kind of a reverb effect. But frankly speaking, when the government goes against the corrupt, everybody likes it.
See, there are two parts, Advaita. There are two. Nobody is naive to think that any politicians are not corrupt. There's corruption everywhere in BJP, etc. Now, in these cases, like Lalu, Soren, and all, here kind of the perception is cemented. People have always known them, and people are other people is a matter of speculation. Some talk, okay, can this person not be corrupt, etc. Okay, there is that part. In case of Lalu, though Ajay would know Bihar better, there is two parts. There is this his own community, Yadavs, etc., and somebody has actually told me this from that community, almost like saying that "वो चोर है लेकिन हमारा है," kind of a thing. That
Yes.
he's our own, so we everybody is corrupt, but ये corrupt होने से भी हमारा है. But what acts against Lalu and RJD most is the Jungle Raj image. People, even from his own community and all, know that they were not spared during that whole Jungle Raj area period. And that is again same thing which worked in UP and which is working today in favor of Yogi. Is everybody knows that even if they were earlier part of the Yadav community, etc., they could not escape all the Bahubalis and their antics, which today has changed. So Lalu Prasad's case, I think that's where the sympathy is not swinging wholly there, and people are probably expecting. Even when Nitish was with BJP, there may not have been development in his last two terms, but again, the law and order was good. But now people have actually seen deterioration in the law and order. In the case of Hemant Soren and the Soren, the father and the son, uh, I have my own senses, whatever I have seen in Jharkhand earlier, even people from the tribal community, etc., have faced, impact of their extortion, corruption. So from that angle, I don't think they have so much of sympathy for this person that he's our man, our savior, etc. BJP lost that election lot due to its own problems, its own, the rebellion inside, and its their incumbent chief minister being arrogant, etc. It was a bad loss according to me. There was no reason why they should have lost. They've done a reasonably good job in the first term, but I think they couldn't manage the internal dynamics. So here, if say the government is toppled and if BJP forms a government, I think they'll have lesser backlash than if today were to done in Delhi without a viable alternative.
No,
Hmm.
absolutely agree with you, Sandip, on this because Babulal Marandi, who is now virtually the spearheading BJP personnel in Jharkhand today, has a much cleaner slate and an image when compared to Hemant Soren and his family. Especially corruption, if you look at it within Jharkhand, since I come from Bihar and I have my father was posted in Ranchi also, so I've lived in Ranchi also briefly. I have a slightly higher interest in Jharkhand politics as well because I tend to put some more time to it. Things have been really bad. It has been much more of an extortionist economy which has been going on in Jharkhand. Mining, which is the sole revenue earner for Jharkhand, is now at lagrices of the political masters. Most of the industries or the corporations who are now into mining and extraction are facing severe difficulties and massive corruption. The real estate prices have gone up more than 250% in the past 3 years. Unimaginable what is happening. And land grab and everything else is a huge issue. In this backdrop, we must also remember that in Jharkhand, the political situation has never been very stable since 2000 when the state was formed. I mean, if you recall, there was a chief minister who had 766 crores stashed in a bank account, single bank account in Andhra Pradesh. And then he was put to prison. The entire scam was valued at something like
This is
40,000.
the same, Ajay. This is the same state where we just had that liquor thing, also, right? The bust in
Yes,
Jharkhand, where there
yes,
was the Congress MP who had
yes.
all that cash.
So again, 3,000 crore plus. And his entire empire is spread between Jharkhand and Odisha. And he said that it's all legit money which he was holding in cash. Now, who holds 3,300 crores plus in cash. And then the ED stopped counting. That's what I'm told. After 9 days, they said that, oh, yaar, chodo yaar, let's forget it. Bahut ho gaya, kitna ginenge? It was more than 500 crores cash. They stopped reporting thereafter. So if we look at Jharkhand, if we
You
looked
see,
at
that this is such a poor state, you know?
it is not in reality. It is
Yes.
a rich
It's a
state.
rich state with poor people.
With poor
Yes.
people, right. It's minerally rich, but I mean, in that sense, the people are really poor in that.
See, it has minerals, so you can mine extensively. Name it and you have it. From plutonium to mica to iron ore to coal, you name it, you have it in Jharkhand. It has tourism because of the hill stations that it has, which have now been converted into slums virtually. It is a electricity surplus state because of the various hydro projects which are there. There's no scarcity of water. There is no issue at all. So be it tourism, be it industries, you name it and you can have it in Jharkhand. But since 2000, nothing has happened. Everybody believed it is. They used to say it is better to be a Jharkhandi than to be a Bihari. That was a kind of a slogan which happened, and still exists in Jharkhand. But then today, a Jharkhandi is even worse off than Bihari. And Bihar is 29th on the state of development in all across all, and Jharkhand is just one step ahead. So it is a pathetic state of affairs in both these states. And corruption obviously is the bane, and so are the people and the state of mind. I call Bihar and Jharkhand a state of mind. I mean, if you ever had an opportunity of making a train journey from Delhi to Kolkata, the moment you enter Gorakhpur and beyond, the Bihari state of mind comes into play. So no train reservations matter, nothing matters. I mean, it is all free for all. And the moment you exit from Dhanbad side, it becomes the pride of Bengal. So that's what these two states are, and it's very unfortunate, very
Yes.
unfortunate. One of the largest populous states, or one of the most richest states, which could have benefited immensely, are in shambles. And so,
So the difference, Ajay, is, despite all that, Jharkhand has industries. They
yes,
have got the bigger industries. They have got mining, which yields income. Bihar today is not generating any economic value other than what is coming, repatriation and all of that. People, money is coming in and some development expenditure. Jharkhand could have been a better story if the BJP government continued, because for the first time infrastructure spending was happening. If those things happened, the roads and everything, and the Naxalite problem was also getting converted, with development reaching within. Jharkhand was a redeemable story, but then again, it slipped back. What do you do? That's the nature of our
What's
politics.
also happening is a lot of conversions also there. That's the other aspect of
that
it.
that has been a character of Jharkhand for a very, very long time.
Hmm.
Uh, in the hills, especially within the tribal communities, the Christian missionaries have been active not now, but since early 50s, and even before that. I mean, major centers like Hazaribagh, Ranchi, Dhanbad, Jharia, all these places have seen loads of conversion, especially in the hinterland. I mean, as a matter of fact, it is surprising to know that the same population uses its Christian identity to draw benefits from the Christian missionaries, and at times uses the same identity of a tribal to draw benefits from the government. So it's so muddled at times. And this problem has been festering for a very long time. But one interesting change which has happened post 2000 has been the Vanvasi Yojana program of the Sangha Parivar, which has tried to restore a sense of balance. So, very unlike an aggressive approach in Orissa, the Vanvasi program of the Sangha Parivar has yielded rich results and dividends, which we saw in the form of the BJP government. And
In
these
Chhattisgarh also, that's what changed Chhattisgarh's election this time.
so that has been a marked difference. Very unlike a government initiative, which should have been, enforced. But if you were to talk to a Hemant Soren government, you will find that they would rather be too happy that the missionaries are at their best, and they are highly incentivized. The conversions are incentivized various ways, various means. I've seen that happen in front of me. Seen my father deal with it while he was in the government at that point of time, which is 80s and 90s. So things have not been very good on that front either in Jharkhand.
Yeah, and now when we're looking at what's happening, during like Sandeep, I think you mentioned at the start of this program that if you look at the new campaign that has been released by the Bharatiya Janata Party, there is a focus on corruption and fighting against corruption. Today, with a lot of the major manifesto issues, the emotive issues being taken care of, there is a need for a plank. And could corruption be that plank? Because even though, for example, demonetization caused discomfort and challenges, and a lot of the Modi critics were saying he's done for now because he has taken this step, what we actually found out was that the public was very pleased that at least the rich or the super rich or the corrupt rich were getting getting their just desserts. So is it a similar kind of attitude that the public has towards corruption and these politicians in particular who have this reputation?
See, Advait, I'll take this one first. See, where Modi scores, people still have faith in him for a better India, a future India. Now, even if they think their politicians are corrupt, etc., other politicians, even within BJP, are corrupt, they look at Modi, and similarly, let's say Yogi, are people who are themselves absolutely incorruptible, and they are trying to clean up society. Okay, and they are doing that in a very, very determined, systematic way, because these people put India first. So all these actions, I think, again reinforces that image of these people. And when you said that, okay, that he's always given the benefit of doubt as to a larger reason for doing something, even if he is doing something they perceive as even maybe draconian, like demonetization. The common man gave him the benefit of doubt that he is doing it for a larger cause. While everybody tried to fan the issues on COVID, and there were so many deaths which are true, but people again said that, okay, these sort of things happen in the country, but he and look at Yogi. People tried to fan so much of this thing, UP being in such bad shape during COVID, but Yogi ultimately, swept the day, because people said no, there was a problem, but he was sincere. He tried to, even
I
during
mean,
that time.
Akhilesh Yadav was missing and Yogi was out there in the field.
uh, So therefore, that's what they saw. And Modi, though he was accused of initially being missing in action, where he changed the narrative is on vaccination. Nobody thought that that kind of vaccination movement. There was so much of skepticism. I was regularly on TV shows those days, sitting in Kunur. People were doing maths, and whether it's Chetan Bhagat or Arvind Kejriwal, showing that in 10 years' time they will not be able to do that vaccination, and that implementation that changed the total narrative over there. And he just went from strength to strength, now saying that how the foreign vaccines were a sham, and how he actually did a good thing by relying on the Indian vaccines. So that is which has happened. But I'll go back to where we started from, and this is that, was all this really necessary, especially being at the kind of he being on such a good ground today, and more than his being on a good ground, the opposition in shambles and unraveling every day. and having really speaking no agenda other than, even now when they're talking about we are all together. Why? Because everybody wants to get rid of Modi. Beyond that, do you have an agenda? And every time you say that, Modi gets more bolstered. See, they have got nothing to do. Modi Hatao is their only agenda.
The true, Sandip. This is something which completely, baffles me at times. It was the same Congress party which used to profess that Congress Hatao is the only agenda of all the opposition parties taken together. And the same Congress, along with all the opposition over the past 10 years, is hoping against hope that all the mistakes of the Modi government would weigh so heavily on the government that the government would fall under its own weight. The people will get rid of the government, and the opposition does not have to come out with any narrative. I mean,
See,
I just wanted to reinforce this, that in 2014 India had a narrative of hope, fight against corruption, change, economic prosperity. Was the narrative changed in 2019 by the opposition parties? Nothing. Could they find anything to stick on in 2024 on the Modi government? Zilch. You're not participating in the parliament. You're not active in any debate. All the important legislations are being passed within 40, 50 minutes. I mean, think of it. It is unheard of that such important legislations in this country are being passed in 15 minutes. And there is nobody to contribute.
see the point, Ajay. We had a very interesting discussion earlier this evening. Two points are coming through. When you're saying this Congress Hatao, that was Indira Gandhi's slogan. Log bolte Indira Hatao, I say Garibi Hatao. Modi is no longer talking of Garibi Hatao. He is now talking very futuristically. When he was saying Abki Baar, 2014, Abki Baar Modi Sarkar and how things will change. From there, he has evolved and progressed to now talking not only Amrit Kal changing into Kartavya Kal.
Yes.
And trying to reinforce the confident India. You see, the symbolism of it. Nirmala Sitaraman's speech, she mentions this chess player over there. What is that showing? Showing that today we are a confident India. Sky is the limit for you from whatever you want to do, whether it is startups, whether that is what is getting. So that is where he's saying Modi Hatao means you're actually going to stop progress. We are on such a grand path. The world has started accepting us. Everything, there is tourism growth, there is rest of it, and they want to remove me because then you will be sliding back to that old povertarian narrative. The second bit, which in fact in that program, Tavleen Singh pointed out very well, and I have also been saying this, and many other people have been saying this too. This so-called question, even assuming for a moment there is some merit or out of truth in that, of weakening of institutions, etc. How does it affect the common man? The common man doesn't worry about whether your parliament, how many minutes your bills were passed. The common man's only, I think, yardstick or touchstone of democracy is whether he is able to go and vote, she is able to go and vote and change a government. That's the yardstick for those people, and that is not affected. People can talk of millions.
The point that I wanted to make with with my statement that bills are being passed within 15 minutes is that the opposition is getting a chance to at least put across to the people that this is what we think is important. These are the changes. Please bring it. What you do in a press conference, why can't you do inside the parliament?
So they are missing that. They think by getting the TV footage and mileage.
Absolutely. You can't be so foolhardy to carry a placard inside the parliament. Something which the UPA government tried to dissuade all members of parliament from doing between 2004 and 2014 is now being proactively justified by one statement made by the former minister Arun Jaitley, that disruption of parliament is also a form of democracy. Under this one statement, for the past 10 years, the opposition has been disrupting the functioning of the parliament for zero gain. There is no participation of the opposition, no contribution, not a
And I think
single.
on the sidelines, when you're seeing the Indie alliance collapse like a house of cards, and you see they're not together where it really counts on the field, in the electoral race where they can consolidate against the BJP, but they're together in parliament to play a disruptive role. So I think they're coming itself from such a self-destructive and negative space, because
Yes.
where you should be together, you're not, and where you really don't need to be, you don't have the numbers anyway, you are, to create drama and negativity and disruption. It's absurd.
I mean,
See,
I'll. Yes, please, Sandeep, after you.
no, I was saying they're trying to catch on to straws. And who are the people catching on to straws? People like Sitaram Yechuri and Yogendra Yadav, who don't even have a single seat or vote. That is the narrative they think. Modi and BJP has figured out, who matter. There is one large set, which is bottom of the pyramid, which you will say they have been largely taken care of by these free ration and everything else. So they are, to some extent, there is a pressure of poverty, but they at the moment they're contained and they think, okay, at least we have got an honest prime minister on top. Then comes the younger voters to whom he's very focused on, and they are buying this aspiration logic, a brighter future, the Amrit Kal and the Kartavya Kal, and this is India's time coming, and therefore for us is a period of opportunity thereby. That leaves the Twitterati and some people like us or who watch us or people like us who, which are irrelevant as far as Modi is concerned. And the bottom rung again, that's where, although he doesn't say, delivering Article 370, Ram Mandir, etc., is also taking care of their other concerns. And finally, now what is the opposition lunging on to? Oh, global, what is the foreign press saying about Modi, the concerns about people expressing about Indian democracy? As I said, that doesn't affect the common people. And Modi in 2014 rendered the Indian media irrelevant. Now he's treating the foreign media as irrelevant. That,
you
okay,
know I was watching YouTube, and pre Ram Mandir, Pran Pratishtha, they were saying, oh, drumming up Ram Mandir, they're trying to sway the voters, this, that, and the other, and it's being used and communalized. And then Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha happened. There was some joyful expression on the day, and then, of course, the country moves on, which is natural. So now, when you listen to them, they're saying, oh, have you seen? Modi pulled the Jharkhand and the Bihar trick because Ram Mandir has not had that impact on people. That's why he's pulled out the Jharkhand and Bihar thing. And I'm like, you have a problem if people are obsessed with Ram Mandir. You have a problem if people move on with their rosy roti kamai, everyday life. And Modi always is the evil, you know, factor behind both these conditions. So there is this sort of obsessiveness about Modi, which is prevalent across a certain section of media and a certain section of the polity, of course, and I would say a certain section of the international media as well. That just, I mean, today you can't. He's the longest serving elected head of state in the world. That's just the way he is. There was Merkel before him, but she's now retired. So he has a lot of experience even on the global stage in terms of just being part of that very, very important and powerful milieu that runs the world.
and see, yesterday there was almost euphoria, and that's Modi critic, the Ware and other people about this talk about America, not allowing the drones to be sold. Today, there's a totally different story. And there was one day's, euphoria, which is today disappeared. I think these people are actually also cut off from reality. Uh, you
They
know,
are basically not there on the ground. That's, I mean, if you look at the core advisory team that is there with the Gandhis, either most of them have been defined leftist oriented people, or they are hardly people from the North India who are part of his core group. They are very distinctly far away from their own self. I heard a story which made me laugh in like splits. Uh, when Priyanka Gandhi was shifting out of her official residence, which was accorded to her as safety concerns, and shifting into another private residence of hers, the guy who was shifting the residences happened to do some work for me. Incidentally, I didn't know that about his illustrious past. Otherwise, I would have refrained myself from hiring a person like him. So the gentleman, after everything was done, said, it's so comfortable to work with people like you because you exactly know what you want and you get it done. So I said, well, everybody knows because it's at the end of the money, it's your money being spent. अरे सर आप तो जानते ही नहीं है. I have broken down one room 21 times because every time the lady would come, she will find with a new idea. Oh, we can twist it like that. And then while they shifted, the first thing that they installed was the television, thinking that at the end of the day, she is the general secretary of a political party. The TV was never switched on in that household. They never watched any news channels. There was nothing which was virtually on.
Well, would
So
you want to watch the news channels if you were them in the last 10 years? I wouldn't want to either.
I would like to know what I'm being accused of, what I'm being flagged as. I mean, whether my Janeu is being questioned and my Brahminical origin is being questioned. But fact of the matter is, I mean, how can you be so disconnected? I mean, the only briefing that you get is a printout of what the news headlines are from your office is your exposure to the world. Then I'm sorry, you're very disconnected. You are very limited in your perspective and your outlook.
And
Where is she,
fragile
by the
also,
way?
right? There's a certain fragility in that attitude, which you don't expect from leadership. Yes, Sandeep, please go ahead.
I was asking you, where is she, by the way? She's totally out of action. Okay, one can understand she went out for her birthday, but she's been out for a long time. Is she in the country or she's just, taking a back seat? What's it? One is not hearing about her at all.
Please guess, but I'm sure she must be monitoring the Bharat Jodo Nyaya Yatra as what has been projected that she did with the previous one, the part one. So hopefully she's doing the same. However, I don't know what is the kind of groundswell which is being felt because whatever inputs I'm getting from my Congress friends who still believe that I am kind of a neutral journalist. Uh, I like the word neutrality now because being neutral means you have to be anti-Modi.
So you're somewhat neutral.
That's what you still insist to believe. So I get the feedback that the groundswell is not as much as it was in the part one, and things are not really that hunky-dory. Hopefully,
But it's
once we get,
also very cold, right? So when it's, the weather is inclement, it's not, and then the novelty factor is also worn off
yeah,
a
but
little bit.
cold in
So
JNK, if you recall, Kashmir, when it was snowing, when he held his rally, when he closed it the last day, it was snowing that day. So
that's
it's
true.
not that. It's not as much as that. I mean, given the fact that the northeastern states have much more to cry about, in case they are so disturbed by the omnipresence Hindu dominating majority of a brute national party. There it was much better for Congress to find a better foothold and representation, and also public support.
You're saying that's not happening this time around. Is it also getting overshadowed by the fact that on the first day of the yatra, Milind Deora, who was part of his inner circle, I mean, even after they were out of power, remember he was taking him to what was it, the Aspen Institute or something in Denver, and really kind of shepherding him around. So he quits on that day, and then gives interviews and all of that, and then subsequently you have. The skirmishes in Assam, which got very heated, very personal, because there is a personal issue between the chief minister and Rahul Gandhi. And then you come to Bengal, and in Bengal, Mamta pretty much has said that I'm out. And then Bihar, Nitish just takes off. So there's been like so much just disintegrating all around them. I think,
And so when they enter Jharkhand, you don't know who is the chief minister, what is the
right,
situation by
right.
the time they enter Jharkhand.
So every state that the yatra is going to is
Yeah.
experiencing turmoil and negativity, which is directed at the India Alliance or the Congress.
See, the Indie Alliance, in any case, never really took off. Everybody knew from the day one that it is an association, as they call it in Hindi, which is very Bhanumati ka kunba, sabko milakar joda. So that is what it is.
Hmm.
Everybody, it's a self-serving alliance just to try and survive the onslaught of a party which is trying to somehow, again, you know, a party which is dominant, which is there in your face, and then you just don't know how to tackle that party.
Yeah,
So
you know.
India was, in any case, from day one. How can you possibly imagine 28 political parties with such varied interests, and all these political parties, barring one, which is the Congress, are at each other's throat, and everybody hates Congress. All
No,
these
apart
parties.
from varied interests, you see,
Maybe
the
that.
problem, there is
I think
no,
we should. I think we should wrap this up. I think maybe because I think India Alliance came together. I think to a large extent because of hate. It was like we hate each other, but we hate Modi more. So when your basis of coming together is hate, then there's going to be problems, right?
yeah,
So
I'm also worried, therefore, about the fate of Sunday Club because much of our thing existed on the India Alliance's this thing. Now, if they totally
much
unravel
more,
like this, I
yeah,
think
much
we will
more
also lose.
programming.
We will have a programming issue. For our sake, maybe India Alliance should continue or these things. So we have
Seriously,
some.
I hold you responsible. I hold you responsible, Aditya. You got me at the last fag end of the India Alliance existence. You wanted me to come on the show so that I decimate the alliance?
No, no, no. In fact, I will say this. We shouldn't. I think what I said this earlier as well. I think what Rahul Gandhi is attempting with the walking and all takes effort, and I never trash that yatra itself because I feel it takes a lot of effort to do that. And at least he's making an effort. He's trying to do something positive now. If everything is falling around him, he can't. He's just keep walking, as they say, and that's what he's doing. He's just going to keep walking. Anyway, thank you
Everybody,
so much for joining us, and we shall be back with another topic. Ajay, thanks so much. Sandeep, thank you to you as well, and we will catch you soon. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye for now. Do
bye.
like, share, subscribe. I always forget.